information and other components are provided as print and physical products as well. So I know that you came here with questions today, and I'm here to answer them. So please feel free. You will need to unmute yourself if you have a question. Let me open up chat in case anybody wants to put anything in there. Okay, I am not hearing from anybody. Do you all want me to just keep talking, or do you want to put a question in chat? Or we do have quite a few people in here, so I want to make sure you're hearing me.
I can hear you great.
Okay.
Yes, we can hear you. I was just trying to figure out where to find on this. Yeah, our mic. What's the kind of professional development that you offer with your program?
Yeah, so the program includes a professional development portal inside the digital platform. And what we'll offer in that portal will be on-demand training, starting with, of course, basic implementation for the various programs, the English, Spanish, and dual language for the 4-year-old program and the 3-year-old program. And those trainings will be available 24/7. They're included when you purchase the program. We will also be adding training on specific topics like, you know, sessions on small group learning, or how to do learning centers, or more research-based, what does it mean to have a developmentally appropriate classroom, those kinds of things. So all of that will be available in our portal. We are partners with another professional development website called Early Childhood Investigations that does have a lot of webinars that are scheduled. They're live, they're scheduled at specific times, but they're also recorded with early childhood thought leaders, and I can provide more information about that. In terms of live PD, that is something that we just have to work out with you based on your needs and whether it's in classroom or virtual. But we will be offering live trainings. We've always done that. Right now, you know, we haven't been for the past year or so. We've been doing all of our trainings online. They have been live, but they've been online. So we can work that out with you individually, but the online trainings in the cloud, those will always be there for the full 8 years. And you'll have access to training for all the programs, regardless of which one you may decide to purchase. So even if you're getting pre-K4, you can attend the pre-K3 sessions and learn more about that in working with 3-year-olds in your classroom.
In the Texas Resource Review, it states that there's only some materials that are available in Spanish. Can you tell me what is missing in your program?
Okay, so all components that the child or the parents of the child or caregivers see, those are all in Spanish. So all of the literature, the trade books, the leveled readers, anything like that is available in Spanish. What's not in Spanish is the teacher guide. So we're working on providing more Spanish support in those teacher guides. We're working with some districts and individuals and looking at the possibility of at least providing the prompts for the students in Spanish. All of the parent letters, all of the vocabulary throughout the teacher guides is provided in Spanish.
Do you have a quick overview of what the Investigator Club, is that what that is for the 4-year-old program, is the
Yeah.
Investigator Club?
Yes, it is. If I can, I think I have the ability to share my screen. I wasn't planning on doing that, but maybe I can show you some of the slides if I can.
Let
Okay.
me know if it won't work and I can make you a co-host.
Yeah, it's giving me my green arrow, so far so good.
There we go.
All right, great. Let me get a slideshow view. There are a lot of slides, so I'm just going to skip through them to show you what you need to show. So Investigator Club is, first of all, Robert Leslie Publishing is an early childhood company. It is the only thing we do. We're completely focused on just making sure that whatever products and components we provide are something that are going to add to the success for every single child in the classroom. So we started with pre-K, but then we created the Just for Threes and then infant toddler. So we work from a continuum of growth and development for birth to age 4. And then we look vertically up at what children are expected to know in kindergarten above, and we built our programs to be developmentally appropriate in those. We are, of course, 100% aligned with the Texas pre-K guidelines, and I believe we received perfect scores on all of the resource review indicators as well. Oops. Let me find something that gives you an overview. These controls are a little different. So this is just an overview of what's in the digital curriculum. The program is, as I said, digital with some print components. It doesn't show it here, but we also do include the infant toddler and the professional development digitally. There's a lot of research supporting our program. We have an efficacy study that was done with over 500 children in 32 classrooms in 9 states, and Texas was one of them. And what we did was we studied performance improvement in every single subgroup. There were many subgroups of English learners, children requiring special needs or receiving special services, and a lot of different breakdowns. And every single subcategory was statistically significantly improved in every one of 10 domains. We do use an investigation approach to all content areas. We cover all 10 domains with 274 specific skills. 20 minutes, I don't have a lot of time to go into detail. I did want to mention some of the special supports we do offer for children that we want to differentiate instruction for. So we offer throughout the teacher guide several different approaches of differentiation that varies depending on children's learning styles, whether they are advanced, whether they have disabilities. We're aligned with PPCD disabilities, and we cover that very thoroughly in our adaptive learning guide. That resource guide, when used with the curriculum, and this is in addition to what's provided throughout the teacher guides, allows even special education classrooms that are geared to the children who need the very most support to be able to use the Investigator Clubs, so that as they move to the least restrictive environment they can learn in, they stay in the same curriculum with all of the modifications and adaptations they need. STEAM and Literacy Challenge includes 100 leveled readers in either English or Spanish or both, if with the dual language program. And that is for emerging readers. So if you have children in your classrooms who are more advanced, they're actually ready to move into some kindergarten and pre-reading skills and simple reading skills. That is all covered in STEAM and Literacy Challenge. We approach higher level literacy skills in phonics and reading, but also at more advanced math skills and all of the STEM areas. And then of course the Just for Threes guide, which is included in the pre-K4 program, but there's more guidance. If a school wanted to just purchase the Just for Threes, they would be able to do that on the adoption. English learning strategies throughout the program, throughout the teacher guides, the research and professional guide. A lot of specific training will be geared to that as well. I'm reading the chat. Okay, the question is, just to be clear, everything it offers is provided in Spanish except for the TE, correct? I would have to think about whether to characterize it that way. What I will say is that everything that is offered for the children or the parents is in Spanish. It may not be the exact same products. So for instance, our music CD is Jilly's Music and Movement. That is English music. We didn't try and translate to Spanish. We have authentic Spanish music. So that's one example. There are a few products that that are for the teacher, that the teacher uses in the classroom, that may not yet have been completely translated, but we're working on that. So it's kind of a yes and no question. Who collaborated for the Spanish curriculum? So we have on our team several Spanish speakers, and we also collaborated with a group called Montoro and Associates, who helped us with the translation of products, but a lot of our literature is authentic Spanish literature. Sandra Mercury in Brownsville was also a Spanish consultant for us. She wrote our research documents that are in our research and professional guide, and she guided the development of that program as well. We have another Spanish advisor on our team, or at least a dual language provider. Let's see. So we worked with several people in Texas. Mary Jane Gomez, who was the early childhood director in Houston, worked with us quite a bit at the beginning of the program. She was a reviewer, and she helped us make she didn't work on the content, but she helped us make some big decisions about what was important to include in Spanish and how to approach dual language. Let's see. We have no consumables. Everything is available on the website to be printed, but at this time we have no consumables. We do have there's a question here or a statement about transadaptation. We do have that. So some of our little readers are just, they are simply translated. But we have other components. The biggest components really in the program are our interactive flapboards that are used. There's a demo actually on our Texas hub that you can go to and see that. It's also on our video that shows how these interactive flapboards work to introduce concepts and skills in science, math, and literacy. And the activities and the scripts for those are transadapted. So I'm not a Spanish or a dual language expert. There are people on our team who would be very happy to show you the differences in our program, but we do have some simple products that are translations. We have others that are trans-adapted, and then we have some authentic literature as well. I'm not sure where we are on time.
We have about 2 minutes left, so.
Okay. Are there any
additional
other questions? I'm gonna kind of scroll through the slides and watch the chat. And also, please feel free to unmute yourself and just shout out, because we don't have much time, but this is a visual of the organization of the program. I can, okay, so there will be a recording of these sessions. We also can provide, gosh, I should have done that already. We do have a Texas hub, and there are a lot of resources, including a video there of the program overview. While I'm in this, let me see if I can pull that up and just give you that. I hope I'm not sharing the screen right now.
And while you're doing that, just so everyone knows, for the recordings, we are recording these sessions in all the publisher rooms. And when we post all the recordings of the full conference and everything we've done over the past 2 days, you will get an email that notifies you that those recordings have been posted online for you to view. So you will be informed when that occurs. And we are right at 2:20. So Judy, I'll let you finish up with what you were about to share, and then we will have everyone make their transition.
Okay, I am going to chat a link to our Texas hub because I think that's a great resource there. There we go. For you to be able to get the video, to get a demo of our interactive materials, to see all the products and how they're divided out in the program. So thank you so much, and feel free to give us a call. All of our information is in the review and on TEA, and we'd love to talk to you and work with you. And we would love to talk to you about piloting as well. So be sure and reach out to us. Okay. All right.
Thank you, everyone. Like we said before, you're welcome to stay here if you have more questions, or you can move on to the next room you're interested in for those sessions starting at 2:25.
So for those of you who are staying, I'd be happy to answer more questions or go back to something.
Welcome, everyone. We're going to give people a few minutes to transition out of their previous room and into this one, and then Judy will get started right at 2:25.
Kendrick, are you also saving these chats?
I believe I have the chat set to automatically save, but I can make sure to pull. I know someone gave you their email address to send a video to. I can make sure I just copy that and send it to you.
Okay, and then also somebody had sent me a direct message. Oh, I guess you wouldn't have that.
No, I don't have those, and it will not save those. So anything that's sent directly to you, you would need to save.
Okay, all right.
Hi, everyone. Again, thank you for joining. We'll get started right at 2:25, and Judy will share some information about their product. And then from there, y'all can ask your questions. I will be here in the background, just making sure we stay on time. And we'll hop back in if there's any issues or questions. And then we'll also remind you when we get to 2:45 that we're wrapping up and transitioning to the next block. But I will hand it over to Judy to get started.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. I actually can't see. Am I sharing my screen right now?
No, not right now.
Okay, this is not good. There I go. Hi, I'm Judy Coffey. I am the CEO of Robert Leslie Publishing. We are the publishers of the Investigator Club curriculum. I want to make sure that you feel free. I mean, I'm doing this very informally, so feel free to unmute yourselves and ask any questions or put them in the chat. I think instead of doing the slides, I'm just going to talk for a minute. I think you all have various levels of information about Investigator Club. We do have 6 different programs on the adoption list. They are the pre-K4 learning system in English, Spanish, and dual language. And then we also have Just for Threes learning system for 3-year-olds, again, in English, Spanish, and dual language. The program is a digital program with some print materials and manipulatives, but everything is available online. We have a lot of interactive products that can be displayed on a screen or projected or used in remote learning situations because it's shareable and it is interactive and involves parents, teachers, children. It's not designed for kids to sit at computers by themselves. We are a developmentally appropriate curriculum that is play-based with a very rigorous scope and sequence. We cover 274 skills in 10 learning domains, and everything is developmentally appropriate. The learning is scaffolded. It's spiraling for the foundational skills. We cover each skill a minimum of 5 times. We keep coming back to it over and over again to present learning in different ways. It's a blend of child-centered and teacher-directed learning. But I want to open it up and find out what you're interested in learning about the program. So please hop in, otherwise I'll just kind of ramble on. We are 100% aligned with the TPG, and we also received a score of 100% in every one of the indicators in the Texas Resource Review. So we're very excited about that. We think it's a wonderful tool for you to be able to go into and not just see a score, but see a lot of details about the program. And so I really encourage you. You've had such great training the last couple of days about how to interpret that and what to look for. I've been able to pop in and out of meetings for the last 2 days, which I've really enjoyed, but we have had a lot of presentations the last couple of days as well. I am going to put in the chat, and I would really love for you to copy this and note it, the email address for our Texas Hub, because you'll be able to find a video of the program there, a program overview. You will find lots and lots of resources, including samples for all the components. We'll be happy to send you physical samples, to set up a presentation, to talk to you about piloting. We just would love to chat to you, and we'd love your help in making the program even better and more exactly what you'd like it to be. So,
Hi, Judy. I have a question. My name is Lori Robinson with Natalia ISD. And I was wondering, we are pre-K 3 and 4 district. And I know you mentioned you have products for both. Are they different at each level? And or is it the same product with differentiation suggestions in the lesson?
So in the pre-K 4 program, we do have just for threes differentiation in the regular teacher guides. And the pre-K 4, well, all of the programs will include the just for threes guide. The difference is that if you have a just for threes classroom and you don't need all of the materials in the 4-year-old program, the cost of just for threes is a little bit less because there aren't as many print components. So the just for threes program does use a different teacher guide, along with the first 8-week portion of the pre-K 4 program is essentially a readiness and a catch-up program for children who have either been in pre-K 3 before or maybe not. I mean, pre-K 3 or maybe not. And so the first 8 weeks of 4 is a readiness and a preparation and getting them used to investigating. That is included in the pre-K 3 program as well. But the other pre-K 4 products are not part of that curriculum. So you, for instance, would not get those teacher guides that go with the other investigations. You wouldn't get those print teacher guides in the just for threes. You wouldn't need them. You would have them digitally if you wanted them, but the structure of the program is different.
So I would adopt a different program for pre-K 3 and for pre-K 4 is essentially what it comes down to, right? Is that
yes, and it just is a different structure and a different plan. So the 8-week program in pre-K 4 is really spread out over the full year of just for threes along with the other components. So it really is different. But a lot of teachers who have blended classrooms, mixed age classrooms, use both. If you have pre-K 4 with threes in it, you don't need to buy a separate program. You'll already have everything.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, ours are separated. So that's good for us, I guess.
Yes.
And then my last question is the early childhood outcome framework. That's with Head Start. I know that it's, there are alignments between the pre-K guidelines, but do you have documentation of your alignment to the framework through Head
Yes. So I have requested our IT team to go ahead and post those in the Texas Hub. I don't think they've done that yet, but it is available on the Investigator Club website. Okay. So that's investigatorclub.com. And also, if you have trouble finding it or something, just let us know and we'll send it to you. But we have correlations for Head Start correlations for threes, for 4s and also for early Head Start infant toddler. So
Perfect. Thank you so much.
all up there. And we, several years ago, were the curriculum for 400 classrooms in San Antonio. So, you know, there's that. I'm putting some websites and contact information in chat. Marilyn Overby is our educator support manager, and she can help anybody with getting samples, setting up presentations, anything you need. We're always a developing company. We are so focused on early childhood and making sure that we're meeting every single child's needs, that we customize a lot. We're not a multi-billion-dollar corporation focused on pre-K through college or something. We're just, it's all about young children and those first 2,000 days. And if we're missing something that makes learning, that could make learning better, easier for teachers, more fun for parents, students, and teachers, that's what we're here to do. There is a video overview of the program on that Texas Hub site. It's about 45 minutes, so it gives a much longer presentation. And again, I think the resource review reports do a great job of getting into the details about what's important. Does anybody else have a question? We have some time left.
Judy, I think there was a question in the chat. You may have already addressed it, but I wanted to make sure that you saw it from San Antonio.
Oh, why would Dropbox be blocked? Yes, you can view the materials on the Texas Hub. There will be a link to it, but Dropbox shouldn't be blocked by anybody. So, or blocked for anybody. I will check into that, but we took off all filters. I don't have any way of checking since I already have access. I'll have to wait until after these meetings and check into it. You might be able to get to it through the TEA site, or I just don't know why that would be. Let me see if I can post a link to it here and see what happens.
And Iris, were you in your question referring to potentially that your district just blocks access to anything in Dropbox? Is that the issue there? Yeah, so it's a district access issue, not necessarily, Judy, anything with your product. So.
Oh, I see. I see. Let me see. Iris, can you, if you can email me, let me see if I have a different way of getting those files to you. I mean, they're huge files and they are in Dropbox. So I'm not sure what else we can do. We'd be happy to send you physical samples or send you specific samples of components, teacher guides, and things like that. But all of our samples are in Dropbox, so I'm not sure what we can do. We do, let's see, how many weeks of instructions? So that's a really great and interesting question. The core of the program with the teacher guides and all of the component materials and in the digital system is an 8-week program introduction and readiness. And then there are 6 additional 4-week investigations. So that's a total of 32. But on the digital platform, we also offer 4 additional investigations. So if you used everything that was available in the digital and the print products, you would actually have 48 weeks of instruction. Another cool tool we have is that we do provide a summer school guide using the materials, using selected materials. And so the summer school program, which is really great for getting ready for pre-K or getting ready for kindergarten or catching up, is either 8 weeks half day or 4 weeks full day. And so it's an intermediate summary of the program. So, but the core program can be anywhere from 32 to 48 weeks. And then we also have a lot of additional components for special education classrooms, for summer school, and for advanced learners. You know, this is really tricky doing one presentation after another because I can't remember what I say in one meeting versus another, but we do have a lot of additional guides, whether it's for your most advanced learners and leveled readers or special education classrooms. So if you're interested in Investigator Club, I would really love for you to reach out and schedule a presentation where we can give you a much fuller overview and also deal with your specific needs and see what we can provide that can help you more. And I apologize, when I was talking to Lori before, I was reading 2 things in chat at the same time. And so I was making the assumption that you were in San Antonio, but I see that was a question from Iris. And so that may not be where you're from. Let's see. What else can I help you with?
We have about 5 minutes left in this block, so you can unmute, just click that microphone icon to ask your questions, or feel free to type them in the chat if that's easier for you.
Let me give you a little overview of what the program looks like. Bear with me for 1 second. I don't think Zoom makes it very easy to switch between share screen. Okay, let's see. So here's a visual of how the program is organized, if that's helpful to you. Oh boy, it won't let me do that. I have to stay.
And there is a question in the chat about if there is a separate Spanish curriculum.
So there is a separate Spanish curriculum. It is it includes some of the same components that like our proprietary little books that involve our program characters and stories that are translations of the English. There is a lot of authentic Spanish literature and trade books. There's authentic Spanish music. The everything that goes home to parents and that is for students is available in English or Spanish. Well, in the Spanish program, it's in Spanish. It's either a translated version of what's in the English program or it's authentic Spanish literature. The teacher guides are English. We are working on at least providing the prompts for what the teacher says in Spanish. But right now the teacher guides are in English. There is a separate Spanish instructional guide that provides the specific phonological awareness and alphabet sequence in Spanish, and it provides adaptations for how to follow along with the curriculum and how to adapt the teacher guide to the Spanish materials. So your second part in the English, is it translated to Spanish? So first of all, you have, regardless of which curriculum you purchase, all of the English and all of the Spanish are available to you on the digital platform. The only difference is whether you order the English print components or the Spanish print components. In the English teacher guides, all of the vocabulary for the stories and lessons are all translated to Spanish. So that is about it. The Spanish curriculum is what we're spending the most time on right now, trying to make it better and better, working with a lot of people inside Texas to make sure that the instruction and the supports we offer are exactly what you need and want. But I can tell you that the trade books and the leveled readers and the core components are all in Spanish.
All right, thank you so much, everyone. We are at 2:45. We want to make sure you have time to transition to your next room, which will start at 2:50. You are welcome to stay here if you have more questions, if you'd like to talk to Judy more. But we will start the next session at 2:50. So please feel free to stay here if you have more questions, or decide which publisher you would like to talk to next and move to your next room.
Thank you, everybody. I'm so happy you popped in today, and we really would love for you to schedule a presentation or just a chat with me or our educator support manager, one of our Spanish consultants. We'll be happy to chat with you and make sure that we're the right program for you. So.
I think we have currently a mix of people who have stayed from the last session and people who are just joining us. So we'll let the dust kind of settle there for a minute. And at 2:50, we will get started with our next session with Judy.
Did you say the next one starts at 2:50?
Yes, we'll start at 2:50.
Okay.
Welcome, everyone. We're excited you're here. We're going to wait till right at 2:50 to make sure we give everyone time to jump in from their previous publisher room. And then Judy will go ahead and get us started. I will just be here in the background and will give us a quick reminder at the end when it is time to switch over to your next room. All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. We hope you are excited and ready to ask some questions. I'm going to hand it over to Judy for her to go over their product just a little bit, and then y'all can ask away. I will just be here in the background and I will jump in towards the end to remind us about time. You are welcome to come off mute by clicking that microphone icon to ask a question that way, or you can type your questions in the chat. Either one will work.
Hi, everyone. I am Judy Coffey. I'm the CEO of Robert Leslie Publishing. We are the publishers of the Investigator Club pre-kindergarten learning system. I posted some links and information in the chat. I would love for you to copy down the link to the Texas Hub. You can find so many resources there, a full video, overview of the program, place to view demos of some of our interactive materials, the correlations, I don't think the Head Start correlations are up there yet, but they're coming and they're done and they're on our main website. We would love for you to give us a call or email us and let us know if you would like to schedule a presentation or just chat. And also if you need physical samples, want to discuss piloting or have any suggestions for how we can make the Investigator Club exactly what you want it to be. Robert Leslie Publishing is you're not seeing a link in the chat.
It sometimes won't show if people were previously not in. I will, Judy, if it's okay with you, I'll copy what you put in before and just put it in the chat below.
Okay. Oh, I just pasted it in, but yes, go ahead.
Okay,
sorry. I guess
perfect.
everything I put in before the meeting started is probably gone. So let's see. Somebody's asking, are we all doing in-person and remote presentations? Right now, we are just doing remote presentations. But, you know, we can talk about that later, but that was just a decision we made and we were asked to make. We want to make sure that we're just keeping our teachers and children and staff very safe right now. But we can do a really great online presentation. And we're always happy to just talk to you and let us know, you know, exactly what you're looking for in a program. Our training, our professional development is all online right now too. But I think, you know, we're all kind of getting used to this new way of working for the moment, and we'll be changing that and reevaluating as time goes by. I'll be monitoring the chat and I'll just stop myself and interrupt myself if questions come up, if that works for you all. So Robert Leslie Publishing is an early childhood company. It is the only thing we do. We focus on creating everything that a child might need to improve their social emotional development, their cognitive learning, their physical development in the first 2,000 days of life. So we work from our own continuum, birth to age 4 continuum. And then we look at what the expectations are for young children from kindergarten and up. And we created the Investigator Club pre-kindergarten learning system. We then developed a separate Just for Threes curriculum, which is sort of a subset with additional components. So Just for Threes is provided with all purchases. Our digital platform is available to everybody who in Texas who buys any part of the curriculum. So whether you are purchasing English, Spanish, or dual language pre-K, or English, Spanish, or dual language Just for Threes, digitally you get all of the components for all of that. And then the only differentiation is which print products come with the program you bought. So you have a lot of flexibility, and we also work with you a lot on making sure you have everything you need. We provide a lot of additional guides in the curriculum for adaptive learning for children with special needs, for STEAM and Literacy Challenge for students who are a little bit more advanced, need more challenging, more in-depth experiences with foundational skills. That guide, that STEAM and Literacy Challenge guide, includes 100 leveled readers in either English or Spanish or dual language, if that's what you're interested in. Let's see, really trying to avoid going to PowerPoint because that just takes up my screen. Let's see. It would really help me out, guys, if you would ask a question so that I know I'm answering what you need to know. I think yes.
Okay, I have some questions. Can you talk a little bit about, I have a lot of questions, so I'm going to pick one.
Okay.
How do you focus on, I'll ask two different. One is literacy, kind of what's your literacy rollout? And then how do you incorporate culturally relevant pedagogy into the program?
Oh, just such great questions. So literacy, and somebody has asked here about lesson plans and would like to see the program, and that's making me thinking I should show some of my slides. But let me answer those. So we have every single day includes phonological awareness and alphabet knowledge. We have small group and whole group literacy lessons every day. Sometimes they are trade book literature, sometimes it's program literature. The Investigator Club is based on a group of animal characters, and it's based on a story where these characters get together and decide that there's so much in this great big wide world that they want to investigate. They're going to form a club to investigate their world. So everything in the program kind of stems from that. We have stories about each of the characters, and the goal of that is to help children. First of all, we want children to make connections with other people and with these characters through things like, through similarities in things like what their interests are, what their hobbies are, what their sports are, what kind of music they like, what languages they speak. And the characters live in places like Triangle Beach or Circle Forest or City Square. So we really take kind of a different approach to cultural relevancy at that level and at that part of the unrolling of the of the literacy. We move children throughout the program from make-believe to real life. And that is our approach. We're really invested in making learning joyful and non-stressful. And by using animal characters, we're able to keep things in that make-believe world. And then for cultural relevance, we have a lot of guidance for teachers in the research and professional guide. We use a lot of trade book literature. We have a lot of leveled readers. We have fine art prints, music, activities. We primarily approach it on an individual basis by making sure that we're always including families in everything we do and allowing children to be children and be themselves and demonstrate and show and have meaningful conversations about the things that are important to them in their lives. But we really, we're very focused on how people are the same and in helping children discover what's important to them. So it's a little different approach. We have a research and professional guide that really goes into great depth about topics like diversity and inclusion, and of course, all of the literacy and other foundational skills. So that is all in the materials we have, and it really requires much longer than I hope that helped. Let me go through some of these questions so that we just have enough time. Yes, we have so the teacher guides provide lessons for every time of the day, from learning centers, opening circle times, small groups, whole groups, closing circle times, daily routines, transitions. Every part of the day has explicit lessons and also choices. The lesson plans, we have blank lesson planners that are editable. But so you can use lesson plans that are in the teacher guides and change them or add your own. And we're still working on the technology aspects of where you can do that outside the blank lesson planners, but you will be able to do your own lesson plans. There are manipulatives included. There's a list of those in the components. There are things like tangrams and a tape measure, linking cubes, and just a variety of manipulatives. They're used in both lessons and centers. The centers there are 20 centers in each investigation. There are 7 investigations. So we basically have content for 140 different learning centers throughout the program. We don't break up our manipulatives by centers or by lessons. We provide instruction in the teacher guide for how to set up the lesson plan, learning centers, and what kinds of materials to put in there. Common classroom materials plus the manipulatives we provide. We also have a set of center cards that provides 3-step visual instructions for the students to follow, for the teacher to put in the center, and more detailed direction for her. We do not have decodable text. So the decodable books do not have, the leveled readers are not decodable. They just follow a leveled reading sequence in terms of difficulty, number of words on a page, the picture to text relationship and things like that, but they are not decodable. That's something we're considering. We have had districts want to clarify how much printable material for families we're providing because of remote learning and a lot of the other needs that you all have right now. We are considering adding some decodable text. We have some make it take it books that we provide on the portable, but again, we don't get to that level in kind of crossing over into that kindergarten area, but we are looking at that, and that is something we can provide. So in terms of what's available in the adoption, you know that the official bids are posted on the TEA website, and they provide a very detailed list of everything that's included, including the components and the subcomponents. So for instance, if the adoption comes with 6 copies of the little readers of each title, you also have the option of buying one or adding multiple sets. Math is small group and whole group. All content areas and domains are offered in a blend of, we have small group lessons, whole group lessons, learning centers for that domain, and lots of choices and activity options. We also have outdoor play cards. We also pull those topics into social emotional development, which happens all the time, all day long. Okay, I am getting a lot of requests for visuals, so I am going to show some slides. If you will give me just 1 second so that I'm not showing you my entire desktop. And I apologize. We've tried this a couple of different ways as far as showing the slides and not showing the slides. Yikes. That's not what I want. Don't hire me to be your technology person, okay? That's what I ask. Okay, let me see. So here is a visual of the structure and the organization of the program. You can see we start with science-based research. Then we have system resources, which are the components that are used throughout all of the investigations. The assessment and intervention, it is formative observational assessment with checkups on every single page. We have a lot of forms in our assessment program. We have learning assessment cards for 100 of the foundational skills. We have assessment of emerging competencies and checkpoints at the beginning, middle, and end of year. We also have a lot of components for practice, apply, and enrich. Here is an overview of the investigations. And embedded within each investigation are those themes that are the common pre-K themes of homes and families and all about me. We also have 4 online investigations that are not included here. So the full scope of the year can be anywhere from 32 to 48 weeks, depending on which of the online investigations you use. And those are topics like Wheels and Wings, Marvelous Me, just your common topics. Those are the teacher guides. Here is Investigation at a Glance, which breaks down your 4 weekly topics in each investigation. You would have that for every week. I want to make sure I'm following along in the chat. So as far as the PD looks, what the PD looks like, let me come back to that in a second because I'm getting a lot of questions about the teacher guide lessons. So I want to do that really quick. I'm not sure exactly how much time we have left. 2
You've got
minutes?
about 2 minutes left.
All right, so I'm gonna let me answer the PD question. We will have 24/7 a cloud-based online PD for basic implementation, for teachers to dip in and out of, separate implementations for many parts of this, like how to do small group, learning centers, just various important topics. We have a lot of PD already embedded in our research and professional guide, and we will work with you. So I am showing various parts of the teacher guide. Every week opens with a question for children to discuss and have conversations about and launch the meeting. This is a weekly planner. And every investigation launches with our interactive flat boards. And you can see a demo for those in our Texas Hub. And we move to our investigation station, which is kind of a month-long learning center, and also the basis for project-oriented classrooms to do their project. I was asked about model lessons. So every lesson part of the week and the day does have a modeled lesson. So this happens to be opening circle time, and which is always oral language. So our model always starts with set the stage, get started, do the activity, and then make connections. And then following the model lesson, you have 4 additional choices for that time of the day for the other days of the week. So we go through that process for phonological awareness and alphabet knowledge to Betsy's question. And then small group, which is early writing in this example. And then you have choices for other domains. It's very, very simple. I mean, this is a program that whether you're a first year teacher or, very experienced teacher, you can make it work for you. This is a literacy lesson, the whole group using a trade book. And then there are your choices for your whole group. Closing circle is always shared writing. And then your choices. And then we have a few different features at the end of a unit to celebrate, bring parents in, and that is where we get most of our cultural diversity. Here's an overview of our PD. Family involvement, we have an entire portal called Dilly's Treehouse Family Engagement. Parents will have access to all kinds of materials to do with their children online, to print out. It's just a very significant part of the program. And it's one, I mean, we've been working on Dilly's Treehouse for about 4 years now. And we continue to develop it out, especially in view of the current situation, and offer a lot of support for remote learning, and also to make sure that children and parents are able to talk about what is happening in school and then continue that learning on. You can't see it really well, but this is a kindergarten checklist that we provide in every unit for parents. They have their own special guide. We provide a family welcome guide and their own versions of many of the materials that are included in the program. And of course, as is the case with everything else, the parent materials are in English and Spanish. And I think I'm out of time, right?
Yes, thank you so much, everyone. You are welcome to stay here if you have more questions, but the next block Does start at 3:15. So we want to make sure everyone has time to move to another room if they would like to. If you do have more questions, you are welcome to stay here. And Judy, if you would like, when we start the next session, I can put that same information in the chat again, so that for the next group, it comes up.
Sure. You know what's so funny? I mean, we've been doing presentations for, did I do that? Did I mess up my slide? Oh,
Oh, I think you did. Yeah, those, add those there. Yeah, with people coming in and out of Zoom, you only see the chat from when you're in the room. And so anything put in it prior to you joining, you don't see, which is a slight disadvantage for a venue like this.
I think Zoom has a little ways to go on making things a little bit easier in some cases. But what I was going to say is that we've been doing, I can't believe how many presentations we've had lately, but for most of our presentations, we have about 4 or 5 people from our team. I'm in those Zooms because somebody's doing and we're answering questions and we're monitoring the chat. And we had so many scheduled for today, and I just wasn't thinking of this as a presentation.
And the intention is not for it to be a presentation. So we do want people to ask questions. So I think you're right on point. Hello, everyone. We are right at 3:15. So we're excited to have everyone join us. What we're going to do, I'm going to hand it over to Judy in just a moment here. And then I'm going to put in the chat some information that Judy wanted to make sure that you had. She's going to share a little bit about the product with you, and then you can ask questions, either unmute yourself by clicking that microphone, or you can put questions in the chat, whatever is easier for you. So with that, I'll hand it over to Judy. I'm going to just be here in the background, and I'll give us a quick reminder when it is time for us to wrap up for you to go to your final session.
Hi, everybody. This is Judy Coffey. I am the CEO of Robert Leslie Publishing, the publishers of the Investigator Club pre-kindergarten learning system. Can you all see my screen okay? And would somebody chat something like hi or something in the chat box? I just want to make sure. Thank you. I just wasn't sure if I was just seeing the chat from the previous session or not. So what I think we'll do, I'm going to give you a little bit of background on Robert Leslie and on the Investigator Club. I'm going to show you just a few slides because I wasn't, that's fine that you can see the slides, Tracy, no problem. I want you to be able to see them. I've tried, in the other sessions, I didn't have them up initially, but people were asking to see a lot of things, so I hope that's okay with you. I just want to be able to show you a few things. The Investigator Club pre-K learning system is available in English, Spanish, and dual language. And we actually have 6 programs on the adoption list. So we do have the pre-K4 in the 3 language options, but we also have a separate Just for Threes program, also in the 3 languages. So if you have 3-year-old classrooms, that is something that you might be interested in. I'm going to go through some of these. I want to let you know that if you, let me see if I can just do the slideshow page there. If you have questions, feel free to ask them. I can't do it like that. They just don't make the controls very usable. If you have questions as I'm going through, please just unmute yourself and ask them or chat them. And we're just going to kind of dip in and out of this because we don't have very much time, and I want to make sure that I do get to all of your questions. So the Investigator Club is an inquiry-based, developmentally appropriate learning system. Robert Leslie Publishing is an early childhood company. It's the only thing we do. Our focus is on infant through age 4, and all of our products and all of our efforts are directed towards making sure that every single child in that age group has the learning supports that they need to be as successful as they possibly can, to make the teaching process as easy as possible and to engage families in that learning process. The program is 100% aligned with the Texas Pre-K guidelines. And as I said, TEA did also approve the Just for Threes program for adoption. We also have scored 100% on the quality resource review. And I know you've been learning a whole lot about how to use that wonderful tool the last couple of days. And I would just, repeat what everybody's been saying. Please go into it, save you a ton of work. You can read all kinds of details, not just about scores on Investigator Club, but our approach to everything we do. We provide equitable Spanish and English components. It's a comprehensive digital and print curriculum that includes assessment and online professional development. The actual program components cover a 32-week curriculum, but the addition of the online only investigations will give you a 48 weeks of investigations. In addition to that, we also have a separate summer school guide that's included in the program. So if you do need to do either a readiness program or a catch up before, after pre-K or in the summer, you have a guide and all of the materials are included in the program. So you can pull that out and do that special program. I'm not going to have time to go through everything. I just wanted to talk a little bit about our philosophy, which is that we want physically active children who just love learning, love to explore, discover, and investigate their world. And that is really what we're all about. It is a completely developmentally appropriate child-centered program, but that does not make our rigor any less. And I'll show you the scope and sequence if we can get to it. Here's just an overview of what I was saying. This is what's included in the digital program, the 6 separate programs in the adoption. The purpose of our digital program is to provide additional resources for teachers and administrators, writable forms for planning and assessment, but also provide tools to make it easier for you to offer interactive learning for your students in the classroom by projecting some of these interactive tools we have, or working with children individually on devices, or for sharing on platforms like Zoom or Schoology or whatever remote learning tools you're using, so that you can actually have more of an interactive back and forth process with your children online if you have to do that. I'm going to skip a whole bunch of these and go to the things I know people were asking about. So our scope and sequence includes 274 skills in 10 learning domains. We approach our foundational skills in a spiraling way. I know that you all probably know what scaffolded instruction is, but you may not realize that it's also important for instruction to be spiraling. In this case, it means we come back to skills over and over again, presenting them in a different way depending on children's modalities, and making sure they have lots of opportunities to practice, apply those skills, and also for enrichment. I do want to go back to this slide that shows some of the additional guides that we offer for support. Throughout the teacher guides, we have a lot of differentiation tips, EL tips, assessment tips, IEP recommendations, and but we also offer separate guides. So again, we have the Just for Threes, which is a separate program, but the guide is also included with your pre-K 4. So if you're in a situation where you have a mixed stage class with some 3-year-olds, or even young 4-year-olds, or those who need extra support, you can get a lot of different adaptations and lesson strategies for those younger children while staying with the Investigator Club program. And this goes way beyond just having sidebars that have 3-year-old tips in the margins, which we also do have that. But this is a more comprehensive approach for 3-year-olds. And of course, is a complete curriculum when used by itself with the components that go with it. STEAM and Literacy Challenge provides emergent reading activities, literacy activities, all of the STEM areas for more advanced learners. It sort of crosses that line into some kindergarten content, and it includes 100 leveled readers in English, Spanish, or both. The Adaptive Learning Guide turns the Investigator Club into a special education program. It can be used in any special ed class, but it also provides very detailed help in your regular classroom for children who maybe have, more severe special needs. We go through a variety of different kinds of needs, differences, disabilities, and strengths, and provide a lot of suggestions on what kinds of questions to ask and how to identify what support that child needs, and then how to apply that to the different domains, and then specifically to different lessons within the teacher guides, how you can modify those lessons for children. And that is based on their strengths. So in those lesson modifications, we ask teachers and show teachers how to look for children's strengths, and therefore we're able to sort of bypass some of these disabilities and focus on that. We have early English learning strategies throughout the program. There are tips in the margin. We have very robust instruction within the research and professional guide and throughout all of the training and all of the teacher guides. I'm sort of confused now. Did I even show you this page yet? So this one. So this shows the system organization, and we move from all of our very extensive science-based research and efficacy tests and into our system resources, which are those components that are used throughout the curriculum in every investigation, and then the assessment and intervention kit, which is also used throughout the program. Then we have our 8-week program introduction and our 6 4-week investigations. We move from that into some of the other components I showed for practicing, applying, and enriching those skills with more math, more social emotional development, more STEAM and literacy, and additional components for outdoor play and learning. I'm going to take a breath here because I don't see any questions in the chat, and I want to make sure that you can interrupt me and feel free to ask anything live or in the chat. I also noticed that we have Eric Ruth in here with me now. He is your rep, and Eric, feel free to chat your contact information in there as well. We've already put in Maryland's and the Texas Hub, but want to make sure that you all know that we are so happy to present for you, to have a private conversation, to send you physical samples. So just let us know what you need. And I'm just going to keep barreling through all this to give you as much information as I can do, but I will interrupt myself if you want to ask a question. So here's an overview of how the teacher guides are organized. Everything is in 4-week blocks. Even the program introduction called Let's Investigate is in 4-week blocks, but it's an 8-week readiness program. So it actually has 8 weeks of instruction that introduces children to pre-K, reviews or introduces some readiness skills, lets children get to know some of the character or all of the characters in the program, the story behind how they all became investigators, and at the end of the program, all the children in the classroom get to be investigators themselves. There is a full video in the Texas Hub, and we would be happy, would love for you to go and watch that video or ask for a presentation.
And just as a quick time check, we have about 5 minutes left. So please, if you do have questions, I've been in this session the whole time with Judy. She has some excellent answers for you. So if you do have any questions, please make sure you are using this opportunity to ask them, either by coming off mute or putting them in the chat so that you can get answers directly from her.
Yes, please. And I was in the last few minutes of the main session, and I heard people asking lots of great or suggesting many great questions for publishers. So I'm trying to cover the questions that were asked there, but I'm sure you may have some of your own, and we'll just keep going. This is a glimpse of the investigation at a glance that shows how the 4 themes in each unit are divided up and what materials are used and how those domains are covered. And also the grouping strategies. At the beginning of every teacher guide, there's a daily routine section that has short activities. You may be more familiar with things like morning message and calendar times. This is our approach to all of those things. We start the day celebrating birthdays or special days, talking about what happened yesterday, what's going on today, what's going to happen tomorrow. Of course, these days, we don't really know what's going to happen tomorrow. But we also focus on featuring children's artwork, safety tips, all kinds of things. And of course, our morning message. We have quick minutes that are used throughout the day when you just have a quick minute to insert a learning activity while kids are waiting to transition from one thing to another or to fill a little bit of time.
And Judy, there is a question that came in for you in the chat.
Okay, good. What type of materials come inside of the investigator kits? Gosh, my screen is really, really messed up. So we used to have those kits that are organized the way we do in our system organization. And that is the way that they are organized in the digital system. When you receive your materials, they are no longer organized by investigation. The kinds of materials that are used to go with each investigation, though, are little books, lap books, manipulatives. Actually, I have visuals of the programs in the investigation kits. So For each investigation, the interactive flapboards, which was and is the core of the program for literacy, math, and investigation topics, that is no longer a physical product, it's an interactive product. So you can do a lot more things with it now. And again, what it does is it makes it possible for teachers to use the great instruction and tools in the interactive flapboards for remote learning, and also within the classroom to have a little bit of distance. So it's still very interactive. It's actually more interactive than it was before. The physical products required that kids kind of gather in close quarters and surround these products. And now the teacher is able to project these lessons in the classroom and let kids interact with them that way. And again, there is a demo for that on the Texas Hub. It also includes a set, and these are both print and digital, Bruno's Buzz nonfiction readers. And they are just very simple little science and social studies books that have to do with that investigation. So it might be My Five Senses, Build a Doghouse, and Mud Pies. So there are 6 copies of each of those little readers. There's also 6 math trade books where we integrate math and literacy in a very big way. And then the investigation trade books, digital center cards, and the teacher guides. Let me see, we have a question about the literacy sequence for English and Spanish. So we do have a separate literacy sequence in the Spanish instructional guide. I would want you to take a look at that. We have worked with a lot of Spanish consultants on coming up with that sequence. It does not match the English sequence, but the way we have created the everyday literacy, let me see if it's hard for me to see, but let me take a guess. So in the teacher guides, it's very easy to substitute these activities during that time frame. If you're in a dual language class with substitute either the Spanish or the English using the appropriate sequence. Of course, in Spanish, we're more focused on syllables. But we do provide an alphabet and a phonological sequence separately in the Spanish instructional guide. And we also have the interactive alphabet and phonological awareness kit that is in the website, has separate Spanish and English literacy sequence. The Spanish literature in the program is a blend of, there is a lot of authentic Spanish literature in the trade books in every investigation. There are 100 leveled readers that go with STEAM and Literacy Challenge, but also the little books that are tied to the program characters and the program themes are either translations or trans-adaptations, especially in the case of the interactive flapboards. I hope that answers your question. Literacy is kind of a big topic to cover in a couple of minutes. And again, I would also refer you back to the resource review, because they went into a lot of depth in examining that, at least in the English, and then Spanish, I believe, is going to be out in March.
That's correct. We'll have those reviews out in March.
Yeah.
Thank y'all so much. We are at time. If you've thought of more questions, again, you are welcome to stay in this room for the next session as well, or if you would like to go visit somewhere else. Your last round of sessions will start at 3:40. So you've got a few minutes to figure out where you would like to go next. But thank you again for joining us today.
Thank you all. We'd love to have a chance to talk to you.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. We'll get started in just a moment here, giving everyone a few minutes to transition around to their final block. Hi, everyone. Welcome to your final block with publishers for this virtual vendor fair. Thank you for joining us today. I will be here in the background just as a support and reminder of time. We're excited for you to have this opportunity to speak with Judy and learn more about their product. As she's talking, feel free to ask questions. You can unmute yourself by clicking on that microphone icon. You can also type information in the chat as well as a way. I see that there are already a few questions that are popping up in the chat that I'm sure Judy can get to in just a moment. What I'm going to do in just a second is put some information for y'all in here from Judy so that you have some contact information, and then we will get started.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. I hope that you all can see me and see my screen. We started out these sessions today without showing any slides, but then we had so many requests to see things that we did put them up, and not showing all of them because it's a very long presentation, but I am going to hit on some important points that there is some common interest. I do notice that there were a couple of questions here about, I think this is from the new session and not the old one, but I'm not sure. Ann Davis says that on the price sheet on the TRR rubric, it shows $0. I don't know what that's about. I didn't even know the TRR rubric had prices on it. So I'm not familiar with what that is. It's definitely not $0. But there are, the official bids on the TEA website does have all of the prices. So let us know if you can direct me to or Kendrick on where that might be. I don't remember seeing.
I'll take a quick look here and see if I can figure that out too. But yeah, definitely refer to that bid sheet for those official bids.
Yes. So the tech review said that the tech was not compatible with Android or iPhone. I don't think that's right, and I'm not sure what that means. I had sent TEA an update on our tech capabilities, and I think that did not get posted yet because they were busy getting ready for this and doing official bids and things. And so the last time I heard from them, they hadn't updated it yet, but I don't know why it wouldn't be. The digital program works with everything. Eric Ruth is your rep and our Texas manager, and he just chatted his phone number and contact information as well. So you can feel free to reach out to us through the Texas Hub, some of the information, contact information that Kendrick posted, or reach out to Eric. The Investigator Club Pre-K Learning System actually has 6 separate programs that have been adopted in the state of Texas. They are the English, Spanish, and dual language programs for Pre-K4. And then they did also adopt the Just for Threes program in English, Spanish, and dual language. And I believe that we are the only company that does have a separate 3-year-old program on the adoption list. So if you have separate 3-year-old classrooms, I would encourage you to look at that a little bit deeper and to be in touch with us and discuss how we might be able to help you. If you have mixed age classes with 3 and 4-year-olds, you don't really need to do anything special because all of the resources are included in your pre-K4 program. So I want to get started here. I'm going to kind of keep an eye on the chat and let Eric also keep an eye on the chat. And I know that Kendrick has been really great about letting me know if somebody has a question. I'm going to go really rapid fire because we don't have much time. So I don't come up for much air. If you have a question, unmute yourself and just shout or put it in the chat or whatever you want to do. I'm really happy for those interruptions because I want to make sure that we're giving you the information you need to go to the next step in your decision-making process. We would love to schedule a separate presentation with you, just to chat with you, send you print samples, whatever you need to better inform you. And there is a ton of information in the Texas Hub, including a full video that will give you a more comprehensive overview than what I can do right here. And of course, I'm going to encourage you to look at that TRR report. It's very thorough. They saved you a lot of work. You can get a lot of detail, not from us, but from the reviewers on their team on what they saw and the big quality indicators that they were looking for that go even beyond the TPG alignment. So the Investigator Club is 100% aligned with the TPG, and it also received a score of 100% in every quality indicator on the resource review. So naturally, we're going to tell you to take a look at that. We think it's a great tool. We do offer equitable Spanish and English components. It is a very comprehensive digital curriculum with print components. Not everything is available as a print component, but the key resources that you need for literacy, for math manipulatives are included. The actual core curriculum that includes the print teacher guides and literature is a 32-week program. But there are additional 4 additional investigations online. If you used everything that we provide, you would actually have 48 weeks of instruction. But those extra investigations were not included in the correlation or in the TRR review, so they aren't needed to cover all of the skills and all of the domains. That you have done that with the 32 weeks. So Investigator Club is a developmentally appropriate program that uses a play-based approach combined with a pretty rigorous teacher-guided curriculum to make sure we are covering all of the skills in all of the domains. When you first go to your digital program, you'll see that you have some program choices. You have access to all of them, but this helps you to more easily find the specific components and programs you're looking for that day. Whether you buy the English or the Spanish, or the 3-year-old, you have access to both languages and all of the components for all of the programs digitally. So the only difference in the different pricing structures in the official bids as you're making your choices is only regarding the literature and other components where you would want either English or Spanish or both. The purpose of the digital program for us is just to provide teachers and parents more access to more resources, writable forms, all of the tools you need for planning, and also to provide you with more choices for your instructional model so that you can actually project interactive materials and use those in the classroom, but you can also use them in hybrid or remote learning settings where you have interactive materials that you can share on your screen in whatever virtual classroom you're using. And you have an opportunity to actually use interactive materials with kids and families. Not sure that that is something that anybody else offers. What we don't do is provide a lot of the worksheet type screen-based activities where kids sit at the computer and just do kind of skill and drill activities. We don't have that. We have our authors they have extensive backgrounds. I'm not going to go into them in depth, but I will tell you that our 2 authors, Beth Wise and Joellen Cicerelli, are pretty remarkable teachers, moms, researchers. Beth's background is with Disney Education, and Joellen's background was as Mr. Rogers' editor. And they've both been with me and with our company for years, and over 20 years. And so we built this program together. We involved very highly renowned and respected research in the field to guide our development of this program. We have Spanish and dual language advisors inside Texas. And Craig and Sharon Ramey were actually the principal researchers on the Abecedarian study, which actually defined what a high quality pre-K education is. I want to give you a glimpse of the program structure. This is the system organization. We start with that research. We have a system of resources that are used throughout the year. And then we have an assessment and intervention program that is also used throughout the year. We have 7 separate investigations, and then a lot of support and enrichment materials to help you differentiate that instruction and expand your learning. Here's a glimpse of our investigations and the weekly themes within each one. An overview of our teacher guide structure, and I'm going to kind of zip through those pages in the few minutes we have left so you can see this on the pages instead of me talking about it here. This is a really great time though. I know it's late. I know you've been through a lot of sessions today, but please, if you have any specific questions, now would be the time. So on some of these pages, I'm going to kind of whip through them and not even talk about them. But this is the investigation at a glance that gives you the grouping and domain details for that specific investigation. And we go into daily routines to start your day, where we celebrate birthdays and classroom artists and what we did yesterday, today, and tomorrow, safety tips, daily messages, all kinds of things. Quick minutes for a few little minutes throughout the day where you want to fill it with a productive learning opportunity, always at your fingertips. Health and safety and snack tips throughout the day. transitions as you move from one group or one activity or learning centers to outdoor play. Learning centers in all 10 domains and different kinds of centers for sand and water and various things like that. Let's see, Anne has the questions. The differences in the English and Spanish programs. So both programs use the same teacher guide, but the literature is either available in English or Spanish. The Spanish literature is authentic Spanish literature. We do have some program books, little books, lap books, nonfiction readers that are translated. The interactive products are more trans-adapted. The alphabet kit, the phonological awareness, and the alphabet strands follow a separate sequence and strategy, and that is all laid out in a Spanish instructional guide. And we would, it's pretty complex, so we would want to talk to you about that separately. The implementation of it is not complex, it's very, very simple. And the Spanish sequence is a completely separate thing that was developed by Spanish speakers. The manipulatives and the manipulatives are not sorted out by center. They are throughout the program. They're used in various ways, in not just in centers, but in small groups and large groups as well. But if you're talking kind of literally about manipulatives, here's a little picture of what some of those are. In terms of talking about center cards, you can see, or center materials, you can see the front of one of our center cards here, and we always provide 3-step visual instructions for the child in each center with a specific activity in those materials laid out. And then there are more detailed instructions for the teacher on the back that gives them the materials and some guidance for setting up and directing students. The professional development is on a 24/7 portal on the digital program. It's on-demand training. There will be basic implementation training for each program that we offer, and then there will be some specialized training for dual language classrooms, for small groups, for integrating outdoor play, for family engagement, which is a really important part of the program. And all of that is included 24/7 for the 8 weeks, the 8 years of the adoption. And then if you want professional development live, in addition to that, we would work with you to make sure we're providing what you need. But that online implementation is always available then for new teachers or refreshers or coaches. We also include a fidelity, monitoring for fidelity information in our research and professional guide. You have a lot of built-in professional development in the program so that teachers don't have to actually go anyplace, and so that literacy coaches and others in your district can also assist you in providing that PD. We also partner with an outside early childhood investigations webinar group that has a lot of well-known speakers in the field of early childhood and thought leaders, and just dozens of recorded webinars and live webinars all the time that we offer that are not program specific, but they are early childhood topic specific. I kind of lost track of time, Kendrick.
We've got about 3 minutes left, so we have time for a few more questions if anyone has them.
Or anything you want me to show on the slides. This is a little bit about the STEAM and Literacy Challenge, where we do kind of break a barrier and provide some introductory kindergarten materials and activities for children who are ready for that or towards the end of the year. I know that some classrooms, or all classrooms really, are going to have some children who need more challenge. Lots of great interactive fun activities in the guide. Some of them use these leveled readers and some of them do not. The guide itself, the STEAM and Literacy Challenge, actually, those activities in there can be done with any readers. They do not have to be done with these readers, but we do provide them nonetheless. And many of those Spanish readers are authentic literature. Some of them are translations from classic literature. There's just a range. The important thing to us was to make sure that we were using readers that were tied to each investigation, and where we were providing that leveling for levels A to E to get kids very close to that almost first grade level in reading if they were ready for that. Anybody have any questions? Please be kind. You've got 2 minutes. I want to thank you all so much for joining us today, and we look forward to hearing from you. I've really enjoyed meeting with everyone today and really enjoyed the sessions over the last couple days as we were able to pop in and out of those. But feel free to reach out. We'd love to work with you. We're very flexible and we're always looking for new ideas and ways we can improve learning and teaching.
Thank you all so much for joining us. As a quick follow-up, that cost sheet that's on TRR is incorrect. We're going to figure out getting that corrected and make sure that's right. Please do, in the meantime, refer to those official bids that are on the proclamation page because that is the correct information on that document. And I looked at the official bids and then looked at what was on TRR, and we'll figure out what's going on with that. And so thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Yes.
Hendrik, while you're responding to that, can you just verify that the professional learning one is also correct?
The professional learning for
Robert Leslie? Because in there it says that professional learning is paid, it's $3,200. But then Judy was just sharing that it's provided for free. So there's a little discrepancy there. So I wasn't sure.
Oh, you know what, that is just based probably on the initial complete descriptions or something, because that's not in the official bid. It is included in the program cost. It does have a value of $700, I think, when it's purchased separately, but it is included with the curriculums.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think anything is $3,200 anymore. So
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Yeah,
thank you.
Judy, I think we'll follow up with you. I'm going to loop in a few people on my team and we'll figure out where some of the discrepancies are showing up there.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Anne, for alerting us to some of that. But thank y'all so much. We really do appreciate it. And we are looking forward to continuing to work with y'all.
Thank you. Bye.